Swim Things in Blue Springs, your one-stop shop for all things swim. Pools, spas, patio furniture, swimwear, and accessories. Visit them in Blue Springs or at www.swimthings.com.
I had that pro mentality very soon in my life where I was like, okay, I'm by myself. Like my parents are paying for this. I need, like at 12 years old, like that was my life. It was like, I need to do well because my parents are putting like, are going all in on this, and like I'm going all in and I'm training by myself. There's no fun here. It's all professional. It's like that
Right.
mindset. So I was like, okay, I need to find a way of, having fun with all of this and, like being able to travel and compete.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the journey. Today, I have a guest with me, Joao Mescolote, and he's a professional swimmer from Brazil. He swam at LSU and is actually a part of our journey team, as well as investor in CutX, which is a trending app right now. And welcome to the journey, Joao. How are you today?
Thank you, Jennifer. I'm good. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone, for this opportunity to be sharing a little bit of my journey with you guys today.
You're welcome. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how you got started with your journey in swimming and ended up at LSU.
All right. Yeah. So long story short, I started swimming because of breathing problems, like asthma, bronchitis, all the, like that fun stuff. And when I was really young, my mom put me to swim. She actually tried to put me to swim at like 3 or 4 years old, and I just couldn't do it.
Uh-huh.
I did one lesson, and I would cry for the next lesson, so she just felt bad. But then when I was 7, she made that extra effort to keep me in the pool and like at least to be water safe. That was like the main thing for my parents in the beginning, is just knowing that I could in the event of something happening, I could survive any, because like all my friends had pools in their houses, and like we used to go to like our country club a lot as well, so they just didn't want to worry about me. So that was the reason why I started swimming, and ended up doing really well really soon. Honestly, I started with a lot of my school friends at the time, and quickly the coaches were like, "Hey, we really want to put you on our competition team." Like at the age of 8 or 9. They were already like, my friends were still learning how to do freestyle and backstroke, and I was already, doing fly and breaststroke, could do more laps in a row than them, sort of thing. So all the coaches are like, hey, like we want to put you like in that other group with the kids competing and stuff. And back then I used to do a lot of sports. Actually, I used to do karate, basketball, swimming, and you might ask, why not soccer, since I'm in Brazil?
Right.
Soccer is so big here. Yeah, my dad was a professional soccer player. But I just never, people always ask me that. I was like, I just never felt it. Like I grew up with my dad in the early ages. My dad was still a professional player, and I just never got he tried to put me in lessons when I was really young. I just never really liked it to play it. So when I was 8, 9, I was doing swimming, karate, basketball, but I was really exceeding expectations in swimming. I was doing really well at that age.
If coaches picked up on that, they noticed, that you were.
Yeah, it's like in our like regional area, like I was breaking some records, like some age group records. And then that's when like the internet first kind of started getting big. And like we started looking up rankings online, sort of thing, like for the whole country. And we figured out that it was like top 3, top 5 in the country as well, like for the 50s and 100, like breaststroke, backstroke, freestyle. And that's when my dad actually made me make a decision. When I was about 10 years old, my dad was like, "Hey, look, we still want to keep you like they." That's one thing that my parents always did was to keep me on check in schoolwork. That was my priority. It was always my academics. So my dad was like, "Hey, I know you love all these sports, but you got to pick one because your academics is going to start ramping up. Like with high school coming up like soon. Like we want you to do well in academics as well. So pick a sport pretty much." And at the time, like swimming was the only sport that like I was traveling and I was doing really well because the others for karate, I never traveled, I never competed karate. It was just like a 2 times a week thing that I would go there. Basketball as well. Basketball was just did a couple lessons in school. It wasn't like nothing like too much. But swimming, I was traveling and I was, gathering medals and I was having fun with my friends, like traveling by myself sort of thing. So I was like, yeah, like I want to do swimming. And that's how I kind of started my journey in professional swimming. It was like since that age, I always took swimming very seriously because like I said, my parents always made sure my academics were at the highest, priority for me. And so that was like their medium of exchange with me was, hey, you're only traveling and you're only, having your swimming fun if you're doing well in school. And so like I always like try to succeed at both, like, like, hey, I want to really do well in school. And like I always was able to mirror that in my swimming career. But that's pretty much how I started that, those early years and like how I ended up picking swimming over all the other sports.
Yeah. And, in the US, that happens for kids every day, that they have to make those decisions as to what they're going to focus on and great for your parents.
It's a little different because fortunately, I feel like the US has a different system where all sports are offered like in high abundance, like in school. Like you already do everything in school, like you don't have to worry. For me, it was, I have to go to school in the morning and there's no correlation between sports and school. So like you don't do sports in school. I used to do it at a club team, which is the equivalent to a club team in the US, but it's a country club here. So I feel like it would be much easier for me to like keep going in all different sports if it was like all tied to my school and we had different seasons. But it wasn't like that. It was to the point where, like it's a club swimming thing. If I had to compare it to America, where like at 10 years old, I already had to do like year-round swimming, and that was my only option. But I wish I had the American experience. Honestly, like I wish, like nowadays, like looking back, I wish I had the opportunity of trying other sports as well during like those middle school, high school years. I feel like that would have been fun.
Yeah. I do think kids like that a lot, that they're able to do that in school and, they may play a club sport year round, but then in high school or middle school, play different sports.
Right. It's fun because you get to explore other areas as well. I have many friends from the US that ended up starting to swim halfway through high school, like their junior year, they're like, hey, let me try this swimming thing. Ended up getting good at it. Or other sports, like, oh yeah, I started running track and that made my swimming better. Or, I started doing this other sport and that made my other sport better and made me realize that I wanted this other thing. I feel like the system made it to where I had to pick too soon in my career. Not that it was a bad thing, but it's just sometimes you wish that you had experienced other things, like knowing that like in the US that's how it works. Sometimes it makes me wonder what it would have been like
to be here. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I heard that you actually left home at the age of 13 to swim at the pro level with a better team.
Right, right. So, like I said, it was uh since I started like that pro lifestyle. I like to say pro swimming, but it's not really pro. And there's some implications with the whole NCAA thing as well.
Sure.
Uh, but like it's just the way it works in Brazil, and actually like in many countries I know of. It's like I said, I was swimming for a club team, which was a country club. We had our team, and but I'm from a small town, and so when I was 12, 13, it got to the point where I was training by myself. I was the only good kid because everyone else would get to the high school years and they would quit swimming because they wanted to focus on school, because we didn't have many people on the team. So it got to the point where all my friends, which were older guys, already left, and I was training by myself, and I was going to all these national championships. I actually qualified for junior South American championships here while training by myself, and
Wow.
I started kind of cheating. Yeah, I just kind of like cheating the system, because I would always find ways of skipping practice, and my parents like didn't know better, so I would just be like, hey, like I have to do this school project on Mondays. Like, so every Monday I had to go to my best friend's house to do a school project. Like I was just finding a way of skipping practice. And Saturdays as well. Like I would always like tell them like, yeah, Saturday we don't have practice today. And like up until a certain point, like where I remember my last year when I was 13, my coach actually my coach who developed me from the age of 7, like the same guy, like he got to the point where it was like, okay, like Joao is really good right now. Like he needs to make the decision. Like he either has to like take this very seriously because he has potential, or where you can do whatever you want. You don't need to come on Mondays and Saturdays. But he was like, because he was going in on a Saturday morning just for me. So he was already at the point of like, okay, what are we doing here? So
Right.
he called up my parents. They put me in the chair, and it was the same. Like I like to draw the parallel where Bob Bowman says he had that conversation with Michael Phelps' mom and Michael. Yeah, it was pretty much the same thing. It was like my coach put me in the chair. It was like, look, you can do great things, and we need your and we need you buying into this process, or it's okay, like you want to be a normal kid sort of thing.
Right.
You can go your own way, but just let us know. Like we need to know what we're doing. And so I was like, no, I want to buy into this. Yeah, we're gonna do this. And that's when I started doing really well in national, like age group nationals, South American, junior South American championships. And the question came because up until that point, my parents had to pay for everything, all the travels and like everything. And we don't like, this was 2008, where everyone else was wearing the laser like
Laser
suits,
X
and like
tech suits.
and I was beating everyone in a Speedo. You see, like I have these videos where like everyone was like wearing all this tech suits, and like because we didn't have money. Like I barely had like money to travel. Like my dad was never gonna buy one of those suits for me. So I was like, okay, I need to find a way of still being able to compete at this highest level, because it's gonna get more serious. Like at 13, it's like, okay, like we need to like take some advantage of this here. And I had many coaches. Sorry.
I was gonna say, and at 13, like you said, before that you were training by yourself pretty much. So having teammates that can push
it got
you,
to the point
and
where I was like,
just
exactly.
just
It got to the
develop
point where I was like,
that social aspect of the sport too. That's important at 13.
Yeah, that's why I say that I wish I had maybe tried in other sports, because I had that pro mentality very soon in my life, where I was like, okay, I'm by myself. Like my parents are paying for this. I need, like at 12 years old, like that was my life. It was like, I need to do well, because my parents are putting like, like are going all in on this, and like I'm going all in and I'm training by myself. There's no fun here. It's all professional. It's like that mindset. So I was like, okay, I need to find a way of, having fun with all of this, and like being able to travel and compete while still studying, keeping up with my academics.